Welcome to the City of Miramar's Business Connect, where we connect our business and your businesses with the things that are important to you. Today, we will be discussing Women on the Move as we celebrate Women in Business Week. My name is Johnny Douglas, and I am the host of this show, and I work for the Economic and Business Development Department. Today, we have a special panels of guest panelists. Our guest panelists today will be Maxine Gordon from Bright Light Security Services. We also have Michelle Esty from Zurtech Real Estate, and we also have Dr. Danielle Gordon Cornwell from 360 Rehabilitation. I'd like to welcome our guests to our panel today as we celebrate Women in Business Week. Before we get started, I do have a history that I like to point out for the journey of women in America and their success in the business community. First of all, June 4th, 1919, Congress passed the amendment that granted women the right to vote. And August 18, 1920, it was rectified. 1968, Title VII, the Civil Rights Act passes prohibiting sex discrimination in employment. 1965, the Supreme Court establishes the right for married couples to use contraceptives. 1968, President Lyndon B. Johnson signed an executive order prohibiting sex discrimination by government contractors and required affirmative action plans for hiring women. 1978, the Pregnancy Discrimination Act bans employment discrimination against pregnant women. 1980, Paula Hawkins of Florida, a Republican, becomes the first woman to be elected to U.S. Senate without following her husband or father's in job. Now, it's very important with that because back in those times, women, if they made it in politics or anything, they had to follow the footsteps of their father or their husband and stand in that kind of line. Paula Hawkins broke that mold. In our country, the highest proportion of female businesses owners are in West Africa and Ghana. They have a 46.4% of businesses for women overall, and that is in Ghana. That is the highest populated country for women in business. Okay, so now that I've given you some fact tips about women, we're going to start our program off. And I'd like to, first of all, ask our panelists to actually introduce themselves to you and tell a little bit about their business and what they do. We'll start off with Dr. Cornwell.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Danielle Gordon Cornwall. I am an outpatient physical therapist focusing mostly on orthopedic issues. We treat patients with pre and post surgical rehabilitation. We treat people with pain, discomfort. We do anywhere from injury prevention to injury rehabilitation. It could be a sports injury, work injury. It could be a slip and fall. We take care of all of those. And we're located here in Pembroke Pines, Florida.
Wonderful, wonderful. Nice to have you on the show. Also, we have Michelle Esty. Let's introduce yourself to our audience and talk a little bit about your business.
First of all, I'm happy to actually be on this podcast. It's a pleasure to, get my information out there and to get to, provide some information to people. My name is Michelle Esty. I've been in the real estate business for over 20 years. Our company provides services to buyers, sellers, renters, landlords, and we also do some commercial services too. Right now, what we are doing is offering our property owners, resolution because of Corona. So we are able to help you if you're looking for income and not wanting to move out of your home. We're able to provide that funds for you and help you stay in your home while we provide those funds for you. So we are here. We're located in Miramar, within the city of Miramar, of course. We are here to actually help you answer questions, find solutions, help with homes that, you may think you may be going into foreclosure because of hard times. So, reach out to us. We're here to assist.
Wonderful, wonderful. And we have Miss Maxine Gordon from Bright Light Securities. Please introduce yourself to our listening audience.
Hi, good. Thank you guys for having me. It's a pleasure being here. My name is Maxine Gordon and I'm actually in the same building with Michelle. She's downstairs and I'm upstairs. And I have been here for 5 years in the security industry. My company is 5 years old. We offer security guard services, personnel, and we also offer training, security guard training. And basically, and congratulations to me, we just picked up our first government contract with the Career Sources, 6 locations in Miami. And we serve government, which is our first government contract, private contractors, and I've worked with large companies. Like I've done so many of the 7-Eleven construction sites. I've worked with Belfort Restoration for a lot of disasters that have taken place. I work with Extra Space Storage whenever from here to West Miami, Broward, West Palm Beach, whenever they have I'm like their emergency backup plan for their gates. When they get broken, they'll call me, say, Maxine, I need a guard in 2-3 hours. We have an emergency. So they rely heavily on my company. And many of the notable, companies I've worked alongside, condos in South Beach and all that. So, and our training, I offer training for any security officers for all the classes from security to concealed weapons permit. We also offer training in CPR, all that. So we do a wider range of anything dealing with the security industry. And I got into training because I couldn't myself find properly trained officers. So in order for me to train them, to have properly trained officers, I decided to train them myself. So hence the birth of of the training academy. And in the process, I provide quality security officers for other companies. So when I get my officers, I retrain them because it is hard to find quality guards out there. So that's a little about me.
Wonderful.
All right.
Well, again, welcome to the show, ladies. We're going to start by having just a conversation and just talk about some of the, like I said before, the challenges and some of the success stories that you've had, and maybe give some advice to those women out there who are thinking of creating a business for themselves. What I like to do, first of all, just to start up, I like to have you guys just to unmute yourselves. I know Paul's not going to like this, but unmute yourself because I want us to have a conversation. You know how we do. We just say, oh, wait. So I want to have a great conversation where we can just talk and flow freely through. So unmute yourselves, relax, and we're just going to talk through. One of the things when I think of women in business, as I think of women in business, I think of women having made strides in the business world where you created a platform for yourself, where there's a need for women in business, but the platform is made for you right now because women in business now have changed the game in business, how we see business as a man's world. And now that women have found their seat at the table, my question to you is, once you find your place and seat at that table, how do you think you're received at the table?
Well, first of all, can I answer that?
Yes.
Yeah. So first of all, what I do is I focus on the things that are within my control. So I focus on my attitude and my actions and the things that I can do instead of, you know, like you said, it's a man's world. It's,
Okay.
part of surviving. But what I really do in a world like that is really focus on me. I don't point blame or fingers on, stuff that is beyond my control. I try to move on from that and try to learn from it. Um, I basically try to build a support network, basically. So, within the world of where you said man is in control of everything,
Mhm.
it's kind of hard to get your seat at the table. So basically, building a support network and getting someone from that table to be on your team.
Mhm.
It helps to give you a voice for that person, voting for you. You know what I mean? And open up that option in that table so that you can actually get a place on that table.
Very good. Very good. Okay. I understand what you're saying to have that voice. Sometimes I think when you go into the boardroom, um, whether it's intimidation from being strong and from being confident, that can maybe push the doors a little bit not in your favor. Would that be correct, or
Yes,
have you experienced that? I
that is
know,
correct.
especially in the medicine field, that has for a long time since been male dominated. Um, but now, as we're looking at where you're standing and how your business is going, how your practice is, how has that looked for you in that type of setting?
Well,
Because it has been over the years a male dominant
yeah,
area.
and it has worked out good for me because I've learned really kind of like the hard way is, to be in a man's world, you kind of have to be one of the guys. And, you have to be able to play the same
Right,
game that they play, and that way they accepts you and they
right,
want to work with you. So if you can show that you have endurance and you can be strong and you're not easy to be, beaten down or whatever, you earn your place,
right.
basically. Hmm.
Anyone else? Anyone else have you?
Well, look at me. I'm in the security industry. Anytime I go to a bid or anything, guess what? Who's the only female in the room? Me. It's a male dominated
Okay. Well, especially,
industry. I mean, it is crazy. I'm normally the only female in the room. You
mm,
understand? The only one. So it is, and it is normally, you get overlooked because it is supposed to be the it's a highly male dominated industry.
okay,
Even with the officers themselves, it's mostly male
okay,
who are there. And I've had clients who requested just male. They're like, "Oh no, please don't send me a girl. I need a guy. I need one with a commanding presence. I need one who is like over 6 feet." And and I'm like,
all right,
"Oh my gosh, I have one of the prettiest, nicest female who is the most effective because they're not there to wrestle anyone. So I don't see why, who does, the job effectively. So
right,
it is sometimes a misconception of the requirements of the industry. And what has been pleasing for a lot of the clients who have dealt with is the fact that we as women tend to be more organized,
mhm,
more available, more in time with things. So, I mean, they know that they're going to get, the contract is going to come over, that information is going to be available, the phones are going to be answered, the
right,
security is going to be there, the response time is there. It's easy to deal with, because of the organizational skills that
right,
we possess as as women. And no discredit to some men. I mean, there are certain traits
mhm,
that a man has that we don't, you know,
right,
we don't have. Like we don't have brute power.
mm,
Okay, so we don't have that physical stature like a man does, and they have their own strengths and their own weaknesses. And we should, in this industry, just embrace the strength of the individual, of the person, of the gender. It doesn't matter what, and try and work with it accordingly. but you cannot be intimidated. You have to move forward, push forth, show what you're made of, and what you bring to the table, basically.
Okay.
Agree.
And Dr. Kumar, would that work for you as well in your field?
Well, in my field, it was male dominated for the longest time. Women therapists would work for male bosses. So males used to own the PT clinics, and the women
Hmm.
worked for them. And now
Yep.
it's shifting. We would have that um, disparity with wages with our male counterparts um, to a male-owned physical therapy clinic. We would have that going on, and we'd be like, well, wait a second, we're trained, we have the same qualifications, yet now we have to fight to be equals. So when we shifted and started having women-owned physical therapy practices, we broke through those ceilings,
Hmm.
those glass ceilings, and created our own path, not just under the male counterpart.
Right. That's one of the things that I love when we celebrate this week is because there is, you guys are breaking that proverbial glass ceiling, and that is changing the face of the game. And for me, it's a wonderful thing, and it's a wonderful way to celebrate. However, even in that celebration, there's still a long way to go. For example, when Miss Gordon, you were talking about the domination of the brutes that they're looking for when they talk about security. I think it's a shifting and a pivot of a mindset that has to take place to
Hmm.
where me being a baby boomer understands that grew up in the era where a woman has a place and a man has a place, you know. And from that, it took my daughter to kind of get me to see things differently, because she's one of those women that says, I can do anything that you guys can do. And she never limited herself. So, and watching her do that, and I thought to myself, it doesn't even seem right. but but when she does it and she does it successfully, and it's a proven for her, I like, wow, okay, I'm now a believer that that the shifting has to take place, and it has to be a place made for women to succeed in business. Um, One of the things that I know that you guys have challenges with, and when I spoke to women earlier, they question this, but I'm going to throw it out there anyway for you guys. The balancing of being married, having kids, trying to raise a family, getting homework done, but also building a business. And everyone knows building a business, it requires 100% of your time. Your mind is always on your business.
Yes.
It never shuts off. It never stops turning. So my question to you is, how do you take time, first of all, make time for family, make time for your business, and then to take care of you? How does that balance come? How does it work?
See,
Anybody?
well,
I don't
so
know all
Uh-huh.
I live by my what do you call it now? Mantra: God first, family second, and work after. So I basically do a lot of compromise. I've raised 6 kids. They're all now teenagers. So I have been doing this juggler for quite a while, back and forth kids, doctors, daycare, everything. While doing business, like I said, I've been in real estate for over 20 years. So it actually worked out pretty well for me because being being an independent contractor allowed me to spend more time with my family because I actually make my own time. So it's for me, it's family first. It's everything family. They compromise around me. I always never try to, like, let's say I'm out working, I'm not too busy to pick up a phone and answer any
Right,
of my kids because you know
right,
what, it could be something important. So I always pick up the phone, hey, everything's okay, and we'll
right.
talk later once I'm done. But I always put my family first. My business does also survive with that, and they respect that. They respect my business, but when it's family. So I also make time to do, once you do the outings, the this, the get together, they let you work.
Okay.
You know what I
Right.
mean? Because you give them their time. So, it's all about compromise. And I've learned how to, schedule, how to compromise, and how to make it all work.
Okay. Right. Okay. That sounds okay. I can go. Anything else?
Okay.
Paul has also put me an alert that everybody should mute because it's the feedback coming in. So
Okay. All right. All right.
okay.
So I'm
Go
going to
ahead.
go ahead and speak.
Hmm.
I have an advantage over some women
Yes.
in the sense that I only have one child. She's 20 now, and 20 and even away from me in college.
Right.
And I have the one of the most wonderful husbands that you can find because I am a domestic disaster. So, so, so thank God, my husband, when I asked him, I said, "Are you disappointed in me as a wife?" He's like, "Don't you think I know who I was marrying?" Thank God, he loves to cook. So most of the time I go home, my daughter is fed, and I have dinner. And mark you, he works. And he will throw the laundry, the clothes in the laundry. You understand? He doesn't clean, but I'm left to clean. But when I clean, do not mess it up. But basically, with the supporting husband I have, and I tell every day I get up, I cover him under the blood of God Christ because I have to cover him from the top of his head to the sole of his feet because he's a wonderful, wonderful supporting husband. And I know it's not the same for many women because they think that, some men think that, the woman's place is to do this and the man's place is to do that. You understand? He doesn't mind cooking and helping with the laundry. And he supports me and he does, and he enables me to do what I need to do. So I'm not like, oh, I don't have to go serve him breakfast in bed. He'll serve me breakfast in bed. He'll come and and ensure. So it's a very, very out of the box relationship that I have, and I know it is because even my pastor talks about it that I'm blessed with the husband that I have, and I really get to manage. I have to manage the finances now because that would be like we'll be out on the streets and something else if I did not keep that in order. But as I say with men, and we have our strong points, and he said he knows why. We complement each other. So I'm kind of different, and I have to thank God for that. My situation is kind of ideal.
That's very good because I'm hearing here a support system, and I think that
Yes.
is very very good for women to have a support system. Yes, Mrs. Yeah, Dr. Corn.
Yeah, I want to piggyback off of what Maxine said because my balancing act was somewhat challenged when COVID hit. I have small children. I don't have teenagers or young adults. And having a new business and children in elementary school, it was a blessing to have a husband who would work from home for the most part since March,
Ah,
which allowed me to be in the clinic because, and then it got to the point where you're like guilty because you feel like, oh my God, he's left at home with the kids. But you are needed in your practice for it to survive in that sense. But the plus side of it though, having not have to work by anybody else's schedule, and I create my own schedule. We were able to balance out the schedules and the juggling act. If he had got called into the office for a meeting, I'd be like, okay, I didn't have any patients scheduled for that time frame. So it brought on a lot more communication between the two of us too, to keep a tight ship with the schedule.
okay. I can understand it. I remember when my wife was getting her master's degree and I took on a different shift. So I was the daytime dad and she was the nighttime mom. And we kind of balance things out. So I understand the significance of having a support
A
system.
schedule,
I,
yeah.
I think also to have the support system not of your just of your family, but of the community villages, the business community village as well, to support each other. How do you find that? Do you find support across the working network with other women? in business, or do you find it more competitive, or you find it more? How does that look for women in your vision or your view of what you see as you build your business? Is there a support system? Mm,
I'll
what
go
is
first.
okay.
I'll go first on this round. I'll give Michelle a break. Um, what I noticed when, especially when COVID hit, the first, I would say the first month or so, I was more of a mom than a business owner.
Okay.
I was horrible at getting back to people. I had to figure out a schedule, figure out my life, and I'm like, I am like, my word isn't worth anything these days because I'm never getting back to these contacts. And it was amazing to see how people adjusted and how once people got to know you and work with you and know who you are, like from a personal perspective.
Mhm,
Other businesswomen, even other male counterparts, were very, very supportive in
mhm.
terms of, yeah, we understand it's a tough time. Everybody's figuring out the homeschooling. We got thrusted into homeschooling two small children like overnight. What seems like overnight. And the bar kept moving. Every 2 weeks we would hear, or Easter we would think we're going back, and then it was the end of the school year and we're not going back, and we're now in October. So we're still grappling with all of it, but we had to get into a system, and it was great to have people in and around my circle that understood that, yes, I'm going to get to this thing, but it's not going to be within 24 to 48 hours like I was doing before.
Okay. I can understand that because when the pandemic hit, um, and I celebrate you on that level too, because when the pandemic hit, a lot of business owners unfortunately had to make some decisions that were not favorable and had to close their doors.
Right.
And you guys are still here, which is a wonderful thing. I like to address this question to Michelle. In your profession, through the pandemic, how have you had to reinvent or operate in a new with this pandemic?
So the pandemic has taught me a lot of things, and reinvention is one of the main words that I've actually grown to love. I've learned a lot about reinventing because right now we are doing, you know, interviewing customers through Skype, podcasts, stuff like that, which is something that we've never looked into before. We are talking to customer, viewing homes, finding different ways to put ourselves out there, and it's actually pushed me towards online advertising a lot, learning how to get myself out there on Facebook.
Mhm.
To find out that Facebook is one of the main source of customer leads in real estate these days, which I actually thought it really wasn't. But because of the corona, I've actually gotten into seeing what actually is working. So Facebook, they have a lot of new what do you call it now, web advertising, where they call fencing. So it's this new advertising where they call fencing is basically targeting people that is interested in your services. So those people get to reach out to you via Skype, via whatever video thing, because of the social distancing, and they're loving it. They're loving the fact that they don't have to come in, that you can actually view their home, they can send you a video, and people are willing to do that. This is something that they never were willing to do these days before, because they want to see you, they want you to come in, they want you to do the job, you know what I mean? They don't want to feel like they're doing it for you. So it's actually taught me a lot, and I've learned a lot, and it actually has helped me to grow. So, I mean, I always say that Corona has its good and bad points.
Yes.
And I feel like, a lot of people lost their lives, which is, not good, but there's also a lot of good things that came out of Corona. And I feel like the world is changing, and at some point there has to have been some kind of change that happened. And I think Corona did that for us. So,
Right.
yeah.
Okay. And Maxine, I know with the coronavirus, I'm going to get all of you to talk a little bit about some of your challenges and some of the successes that you had with the coronavirus coming in. And when it goes to you, Ms. Gordon, with security, how did that look that impact your business?
Well, it had a great impact at the beginning
Mm-hmm.
because I do a lot of construction security.
Okay.
Well, thank God. I mean, being a young company, people kind of watch in the security industry because you have companies up and within a year, 2, 3 years, they're out. So if you make it to 5 years like I did, then you become somebody. Because that's basically that's why I got, considered by career sources, because you've been in business over 5 years. That means you're okay. But most of because I used to I do UFIT gym. The gym was closed.
Right.
So I do construction sites. The projects have been put off until 2021. I had 4 companies that I had so many projects lined up for the next 2 weeks to a month, and then everything just got shut off. And I would have, just here and there 1 or 2 calls and stuff. But then even with the school, I did a lot. It was so funny. I did a lot of training, and they had a an emergency order that allowed you to, because the security training is in person, and it allowed me to train via Zoom. So I established a nice paid Zoom account. I did my classes, and the only time I made contact with these people were when they're supposed to come in and get tested, and hand them their certificates and all that. So it shows you that it allows you to well, I still was able to function because I basically, it's just a matter of insecurity, getting a contract or having a job assigned. And then I did, a lot of times where they had to enforce certain things like mask wearing, or people staying out of the pool or gathering. So I had a few temporary calls that, oh, we need a guard to take care of this. So it was just a matter of a phone call. So but I lost a lot of jobs, and I had to reinvent myself with Zoom and the students, and it worked out. And then I'm bouncing back now. I'm getting contracts coming right back on board, and thank God for the the government programs that were in place that helped me to stay open so I could keep my office and all that, and keep my staff so they didn't run off. So I was able to do that. So I'm not sure. It Corona has shown us how to be flexible, to find another way around things, stop being in our comfort zone, and basically be think outside of the box. So as Michelle rightly pointed out, she never realized the resources that are available online and how people. So yes, there are a lot of resources that I'm sure Tallahassee will reconsider, because also they made it easy for the students they had to immediately do everything online. So now the offices are all closed. They cannot apply in person. So they've allowed you to do the application online. They immediately get their security number, and they can do their fingerprints now electronically. So it makes it easier for everyone. You can upload everything. So it has opened up new avenues for everyone. Even though it has a lot of debts where we cannot, get over that, but it has its pluses and its minuses.
And Dr. Cornwall, okay. I know your office more is personal contact, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Very
our
interesting.
business model, we had to reinvent ourselves in the early stages of the COVID in order to stay in business, because our most of our activities are hands-on. It's manual techniques with the patients. Um, and we had to shift and also educate patients. We had to do a lot of online PDF forms and back and forth conversations on the phone, and how to troubleshoot your computer to start doing tele rehab. We had to start doing rehab virtually and have people set up their laptops in a way that we can see what they're doing, or hold their phone in position in the right way so we can look at the techniques. And people are like, how are we going to do rehab? uh over the phone or over the iPad or over the
Mhm.
computer. They just couldn't get it. So we had to also go into the digital marketing world and create a whole PDF on that we would send out to every patient once they scheduled and they were interested to find out more information, or if they were on the fence even, and push that out to them to show them this is exactly what you need, the type of browser, your Wi-Fi, all of that, and how it will work, because people just could not understand how such a personal contact type of business model would work virtually. So we've transitioned into including that type of rehab into our overall business model, even moving forward, coming out, trying to come out of COVID. So it's gonna be here to stay because it's really convenient for people who are traveling, like flight attendants, pilots, people like that who are transient and they can't necessarily schedule 2 to 3 times a week to come into the clinic to see me, but I can guide them from a virtual standpoint.
Oh, wonderful. So what I'm hearing from all three of you is, although the pandemic was not favorable on any level at all, and it hit us like a whirlwind, business owners had to take a step back and see some of the good that can come out of this in order for you to propel to keep your businesses alive and working. You couldn't stay. When I'm gathering from you guys, you couldn't keep your mindset in the woe is me portion and move forward. You had to say, okay, snap out of it. I'll go back to you, Dr. Cornwall, when you were saying, okay, I'm not communicating. I'm all of a sudden being a mom, and all of a sudden that reality check comes in and says, wait a minute, hold on, let's get this right. And then you have to move forward. And I think that's what good business owners do. They kind of look at what's going on around them and make that pivot or that shift in their business that can be conducive and that can reinvent and become more relevant, even in this situation we're in now, which is the pandemic. Yeah,
Right.
feel right
And
saying that? Yeah,
yeah, I wanted to also add that as much as we tried to reinvent ourselves in that sense of doing things virtually, there were just some people who could not get on board with that. And being a new company, even if in the early stages I closed for 3 weeks, and then I kept getting calls like I had surgery and I don't see how I'm going to do this over the computer. I need somebody to touch me. So at some point we had to just say, listen, what are we going to do to reopen safely? Put on a mask, cleaning protocols, everything, because we were still considered essential services all throughout. So we really, I had just taken some time off to take a breather and process everything. But, within 3 weeks, I had to reopen and I've been working ever since. So it's one of those things where you have to cater to your community and the needs of your clients.
wonderful, good. I'm loving what I'm hearing, and I'm hoping our listening audience is getting out of this podcast is from you guys is the will to keep working and pushing forward. I said this morning that in each business we're going to have what we call speed bumps, but the problem becomes when your speed bumps becomes your stop sign. Speed bumps can slow you down, but it doesn't mean to stop. It means to move forward. So, having said that, I have a couple more questions for you. One is, who or what influenced you the most when starting and even throughout operating your business?
Sorry, it gets me again, right?
Well,
I was just waiting on Michelle because I was like,
I'm
I'm
just
sure
saying.
Michelle's gonna go.
My
I let
feet
the
was on
baby
the move,
fruit right out
Michelle.
there. So.
I got on the move. I wanted to just beat you to it, but I wasn't.
All right. So, I'm influenced by, there's a lot of great women out there. And it's funny when you do some research, you kind of realize how many great women, independent women out there. And I find myself, and I think of myself as an independent woman. And seeing that woman can do so many things, I am influenced by what a woman can do in this world, what you can achieve. So I like my independence. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I don't like to be cooped up. I want to be free. I want to be able to make my own decisions, make my own time, work when I want to. I've been taught from early to work smart, not hard. So, you know what I mean? So, I really, honestly, my most influential woman would be the women that, are successful, the women that have been where I am and have made it. And, it motivates me to want to be there too. You know what I mean? So that's basically what keeps me going. I mean, one of my kids, my daughter is, I would say just like me and even more. She's like my biggest cheerleader. When I have like my down days, she's like, "Mom, don't give up. You've already been gotten this far. You tried hard. Don't give up." So she kind of keeps me going. So I have one of those in my home too. You know what I mean? But this world of woman and working, it's really not easy, especially if you have to balance family and life. But the motivation of what you want and the goals that you want to achieve, as long as you set them, you're gonna get there. And that I believe in that, and that's where I
Oh,
am.
All right. You want to go after that, Gordon, or you want me to go?
You can go ahead, Maxine. I'll
All
go
right.
next.
Okay. Well, piggybacking off what Michelle says, there are a lot of wonderful women out there who have made headways, and you can emulate and feel confident with about. But I have to, my cheerleader and my mentor and my everything is my mother. I have to let you guys know that my mother got blind when I was 9 years old, and through her willpower and from the blessings of God and her willpower, she was able to pull through. And at first, I thought as a child, not you always see or envision blind people as walking and begging on the streets and all that, and I thought that was what was going to happen to us, and that never happened. That never happened. 5 years after my mom got blind, we were living in our own home. Okay. And she ended up going, after she put my brother and I through school and college, she herself turned around, got a high school diploma or the required courses, went on to the University of the West Indies, did social work up to a master's, and graduated with honors. She's currently, after fighting and kicking and bumping with her, I was able to petition for her, and she's here now because she was working as a case manager in Jamaica. But she's here now, and she works for the state of Florida with the Division of Blind Services, being the #1 producer in all of Florida. You understand? So you can't have a bigger cheerleader than that, and somebody who you look up to. And with my mom, she was always involved in woman empowerment and disabled people empowerment. So I was literally with her to various places, and I reflect back on those moments where I learned, like back in Jamaica, and Michelle will know this because she's from there too. In that, it was just recently my mother was a part of the team that helped to eliminate laws that restricted women. You couldn't get a loan from the bank unless a man signed it with you. You weren't able to sign any documents after 3 p.m. You were seen as a chattel. A lot of domestic violence used to take place back home, and when a woman called for the police, they would go there and it was like, oh, we can't get involved in domestic dispute because it's a husband and wife situation. And my mother was a part of this thing that helped to shatter all of those old colloquial laws that kept us chained, where you couldn't even do anything without a male signing for you, and you were seen as a chattel, the property of your husband. So you were abused, and that just happened in the 90s in Jamaica. So when you have someone like that who is a tower of strength and possibility, and that also influenced my daughter, who got a full scholarship right through to one of the most elite colleges. She wrote about her grandmother, who has inspired her, so that she knows she has no limitation, because if her grandmother can push through and do that, she can ultimately become and do whatever she wants to do. Her grandmother raised her mom into a wonderful, powerful, educated woman, and she says, and put her through all that, and she said, I'm going to become a doctor, and I know nothing is going to stop me. And she's right now in pre-med, and all because she was inspired. We were both inspired to move forward, make full accomplishment from a woman who got blind as an adult and did not give up. And she has moved mountains and just towered. She's a tower of strength. So that's my motivation. A wonderful woman of strength. And she was even in Beijing when they had that big conference on women. You remember that? My mother went to Beijing, China, representing women of the Caribbean region, disabled women. That can you have a bigger mentor than that?
That's pretty big.
Yes. All right.
I regret I should have gone first because I don't know who I'm gonna come after that. I really should have taken my chances before. Yeah, I wanted to piggyback more off of Michelle. I mean, Maxine, that's an amazing story. I cannot tell you how uplifting and inspirational that is. Like, I feel like I know you're like that's my grandma now. Like I know your mom. With Michelle, I wanted to piggyback off of family support when you're starting a business, not just from your husband, but your parents, your siblings. It's so important, and I mean not just cheerleading and be like everything is gonna be all right. No, like actual financial help, because when you're starting up, it's rough. Like you already used up all your savings for the start. You know, and you're like, wait, I thought this was gonna happen 6 months, 7 months, and then COVID hit, and you're like, crap, this is not going how I planned. And you need that support. You need not just the the verbal or the cheerleading, but for somebody to jump in there and say, listen, I know you can't make rent this month. Here is something to tie you over, because we're in the business where our money comes in 45 days at a time. It's not coming in every day. So we do the service and we gotta wait to get paid. So in the meantime, while business is picking up, business is picking up, you need to have somebody there to be like, hey, it's gonna be all right, because you're gonna lose your mind. And remember, you still have your responsibilities at home to keep a mortgage and all the stuff that you need to maintain your lifestyle. So I wanted to say family support is huge for me. And then I couldn't narrow it down to one, but I also invested in myself with business coaching and business mastermind. That's a huge thing, because it has to do with mindset. When you've been practicing, I've been a therapist for 11 years, and I've always worked for someone. So when you go into business and people are going to exchange money with you to do the same service that you are getting paid by somebody else to do, you got to shift your mindset at this point, because you're like, am I really worth it? Is my prices good? And you need that. You need somebody to say, listen, this is what it's too much busy work. Don't put your energies here. Put your energies over here. As the person that's bringing in the revenue, is it worth it? If you're worth $100 an hour, is it worth it for you to be filing papers over here for a $15 an hour job? Like you need to get an admin to do that. So it helps to have that like-minded people around you. I'm in a small mastermind group. It's 5 of us. We don't get bombarded with a bunch of things going on, but everybody's focused on making sure everybody's successful in that group in their own right. So I think business coaching and investing in yourself, having the right business mentor in your field that understands your business model, is invested in your successes, it's vital as well. Next to family support.
Okay. Well, so you guys have so what I'm getting from here, you guys got great support system. You gave us great insight on what it takes to be successful in business, is to have those resources, to make sure that you're educating yourself, to make sure that you have that support system. I think for any young woman who is starting a business, especially our millennials, they're coming at a right time, right? I mean, you have right now. Think about I'm the baby boomer. So what if we had the technology that the millennials have now? You know, I I've talked before and I've said in my era, if you wanted to get your business out there, you had to hit the pavement. You had to go door to door. You had to go to every event that there was. You had to hand out your flyers. You had to hand out your business cards and hope that somebody will give you a call. You have to find a place that you can post your information. But today with technology, it makes it so much not easy, but makes it so much acceptable or accessible for women to be successful in business and for business alike to be more successful. What I like for you to do now is to wrap this whole program up, is to individually, and I said this earlier, and they had four. So, but three guiding principles that you can offer a young woman who wants to start her own business. Three guiding principles. This morning they had four, but I'm asking for three. Go ahead.
Well, I'm gonna go first again for this one.
Okay.
My advice is to, if you're gonna start a business, is to never give up. um to be successful, you have to have endurance. You have to want it, willpower is basically, what keeps you going. It's like the support system that we talk about. It's important to have that support system. Be serious about what you want to do, know what you want to do, set your goals, and aim for them. And as long as you set those goals, once you get to those goals, you're going to feel good about yourself. You're going to feel like you achieved something. So, I mean, again, don't give up. Don't Starting a business is never easy, but it's the person that you are and the will that you have to get this done. Because if you weren't a strong person in the first place, you wouldn't want to even become an independent business owner. So, like I said, don't give up. That's my thing.
That's very good.
All right. All right. My advice would be do your research, number one, because it's big that you understand what you're getting into. Um, have Do your research. Make sure you get your ducks in a row before you launch. Don't try it's not on the job training like with certain things, because I find a lot of small businesses and women, especially get in trouble with any business in general. People, when it comes on to their taxes and whatever else happens, they're not familiar with certain things in business, because it's not just starting a business. Business nowadays is not a mom and pop event. You have to be compliant with the rules and regulations that are there. I mean, I'm privileged to have gone to business school. I have a master's in business, so I've managed business. I've been a manager since I was 21 years old. So I came with that background and that knowledge and all of that, and managing and people and all that. So that was an advantage for me. Not many people who have grand ideas and are able to do that successfully. And then it's not a lot of time, it's not the product, but is the way they establish their product or their services. So I asked them to consult, get business consultant. I mean, even look at Miramar. Miramar offers so many resources, a city, to small businesses. They will help them to, what are the requirements? Which office do I need to go to? What taxes do I need to file? They provide you with different level of consultation and resources. Do that. It is very, very important. And stay positive, you know, you have to be resilient as a woman. You're going to come upon all different, um, objections. You're going to come upon obstacles. You're going to come upon being, just being a woman. And so you just have, but my advice, do your research, seek resources from, there are a lot of free resources from your municipalities. They offer them free of charge, and be resilient.
Great. Awesome.
All right. So my top three advice to women entrepreneurs or potential, those who are thinking of going into business, would be commit to excellence. That's the first thing you need to do. Make sure that you know your audience, know who you want to serve,
Mhm.
and find a way to speak to them directly. whatever you're doing with your business, in order to get referrals, in order to get clientele, know the market, know who you're speaking to. My second point is start building a team from day one. If it means support staff, start building a team, because when you first open, you think you can do it all yourself, and then nothing gets really done properly because you're only one person. So you have a mishmash of things happening, and you'd have systems and processes and workflow and things more organized if you can even bring on an intern or a student or somebody to help you that is low cost. But start somewhere building a team. The third thing I want to do is also try to build leaders within your company. So when you hire someone, bring them up with you, bring them to the next level. Create leaders within your business. Let them own their projects, hold them accountable to their stuff, and make sure that those are also in line with the vision and the philosophy of your business and how you want to practice and how you want to serve your community.
But these are all great, great guiding principles for anyone who wants to start a business. I'd love to thank you, ladies, for showing up today and being a part of the podcast. I think it's very important that, first of all, as an agent for the city of Miramar, is that we highlight and celebrate women in business, but all of our businesses. All of our businesses, the mom and pop businesses, the Fortune 500 businesses, they all add great contributions to our society. And without you, we don't grow. We don't become the society we want to become. I love the fact that you guys are very, very focused on the community. You're very much focused on relationship building with your business. I think that's very, very important as you move forward and as business move forward, and to have that relationship with community, to build that transparency and that trust that people say, hey, I know you. I know of you. And you can get most of that even if you join the Miramar Pembroke Pines Chamber of Commerce. If you join that, you will get that. You will get to know and network with other businesses that are on your level and that will help you grow. It's a difference when someone is able to say, oh, you know what? I know Zertex Realty. If you want to get a really, really good person who has your heart and an interest at your heart, desires of a nice home or a nice office space, you might want to go to her. Referrals like that are very, very important for any business. So I suggest, I can't, but I suggest Miramar Pembroke Pines Chamber of Commerce is a great way to start for you to make those connections like you're doing here. This is a networking also for you as well. You just met each other and you might know each other and you're in the same building. Now there's a connection. Now that you've had this conversation, it'll be easier to say, oh, I know, yes, very good. You should try that. You should go to her. This is who I know. Okay, so keep in mind, I'm not telling you what to do, but Miramar Pembroke Pines Chamber of Commerce.
Johnny, I want to add something.
And also, if you are a business in the city of Miramar, we will pay your first year for your referral fee. Okay.
So you have nothing to lose, Maxine or Michelle. You're
You're
gonna have to pay for my membership.
Yes. Exactly.
I just want to add, Johnny. Listen, ladies, I've been in the chamber for a little bit over 2 months, and when I've had several one-on-one conversations with different entities in the chamber. I'm also in a leads referral group called Power Partners, which Johnny is in as well. And I'm telling you, these people don't just throw out referrals. If they are referring somebody to you, it's somebody they trust, it's somebody they've either done business before or their friends have done business with them before. So it carries weight when they send someone your way or sends out a referral. So I just wanted to add that piece.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That's good to know.
Well, thank you guys all. It has been a pleasure.
It has been. Well,
Yes, thank you so much,
to
ladies
my
and gentlemen.
listening audience, thank you guys for tuning in today. My name is Johnie L, City of Miramar, Business Connect. We like to keep you connected. So till we meet again, stay connected.